You undoubtedly know that the Super Bowl is Sunday. Vegas oddmakers have made the New England Patriots a 5-point favorite over the Philadelphia Eagles. Here with more on the big game is Brandon Robinson. He's the managing editor of Respect magazine and host of the Scoop B radio podcast. Okay, let's get to it. Who's going to win?
Right on the spot. I have an upset. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Vegas has a 5.5-point favorite. But it's the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles finished 13-3. They managed to actually make it to the big game with their quarterback, Carson Wentz, out, and they were able to do it with Foles. So I really legitimately have the Philadelphia Eagles making it. But it's not just the offense, the defense. Their secondary of Malcolm Jenkins and Rodney McLeod and other folks. They've really stepped up. And it's not going to be an easy game, but honestly, it's the two best teams in the NFL. The AFC with the New England Patriots, who they did their thing in the playoffs, and then the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's going to be an exciting one.
How's the weather going to impact this?
Cold. I reported snow in Minnesota earlier today, and a lot of my buddies are out there covering it now in Radio Row, and it's been horrendous. It's been treacherous, but it's Minnesota. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. It's February in Minnesota.
Minnesota. It's cold, but this is what you sign up for in the Midwest.
Okay, so the Eagles and Patriots have history. We've been there before.
Sure, 2004.
And what does that tell you about this game, if anything?
I mean, it's significant. Tom Brady's been in the NFL for 18 years,
right.
40 years old, and an active quarterback at 40 years old. But, you know, years ago, when they played in 2004, it was a different quarterback. Tom Brady was the starting quarterback in the NFL then against a Donovan McNabb-led quarterback team along with Terrell Owens. They weren't able to seal the deal, but it's a new football team for the Philadelphia Eagles and a new coach as well. Andy Reid was the head coach of the Eagles at the time. But the Eagles have definitely rebranded themselves. They fired their coach that they had 2 years ago. Got rid of a lot of wide receivers, Macklin, Deshaun Jackson, and some of those other guys. Chip Kelly was the head coach before. They come in with a new playbook, a new attitude, and I think Philadelphia legitimately has a chance. Philadelphia, I think the thing that makes them stand out the most is, aside from the fact that it's chowder versus Philly cheesesteak, is the fact that they're underdogs. They've been walking around in Philadelphia with these dogs on their head and kind of literally dogs.
And tell me about the fans. How do the fans stack up? I mean, Beantown versus Philly.
I was actually in Philadelphia 2 days ago.
Yeah.
What you'll find interesting is as I was heading home, I actually saw a Boston Market restaurant. They crossed out the X on Boston Market, and it says Philly Market. Philadelphia fans, I lived in the area for 5 years. They're very serious about their team. They ride or die with them no matter what, even when they were doing bad. One thing that's interesting about Philadelphia right now, the Philadelphia 76ers basketball team, they've been going with this mantra, trust the process. And with the Eagles, it's kind of carried over as well. Philadelphia, they're always ramped up for their teams, but I think for the fans, it's going to be a treat either way. Whether they win or lose, they'll be happy. But I see a win coming their way.
So my notes say that tight end Rob Gronkowski had a concussion
2 weeks
recently.
ago. Yes.
So and he plays for the Patriots.
Tight end for the New England Patriots.
And so can he play?
He can play. He's probable for Sunday's game. He is the heart and soul of that offensive core. You have the wide receiver. They have a huge offensive threat. Obviously, Tom Brady being the key to the engine, but that starts it going. But Danny Amendola is another guy that's been very helpful. He actually helped the New England Patriots rally from being 10 down in the fourth quarter against the Jaguars in the AFC Championship game. Without Gronkowski, it would be tough. He's probable to play, but they won a Super Bowl with Gronk last year. Without Gronk last year when they played the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl. So it'll be an easy addition for them if he plays, but all points indicate that he will play for the New England Patriots. And
if Brady, assuming Brady plays, assuming, let's just say, the Patriots win, what does that mean for Brady in his career?
Well, a lot of offensive coordinators, a lot of defensive coordinators are up for potential jobs moving forward. There are people who think that this is the last hurrah for the New England Patriots, their dynasty. They've been relevant in the early 2000s all the way to the 2010s. If Brady doesn't play, I would imagine that, or if he doesn't continue with the Patriots, I'd imagine there'll be other teams interested in the future. But you never can count out Belichick, who's the head coach. You can never count out Tom Brady. That team's been doing it for years. I talked to Jarvis Green, a former member of the New England Patriots, on my podcast, Scoop B Radio, and he just talked about the Belichick way. He talked about just how oiled this machine is and how disciplined they are. I don't think these guys are overestimating or underestimating the Eagles.
I got a minute left. I have to ask you about Justin Timberlake, the halftime show. Last time he performed, 2004, Janet Jackson, and we all know about that nip slip,
yes.
the wardrobe failure. Yes. Can we anticipate a safer performance?
Oh, for sure. This is kid-friendly, and I don't think Janet will be there, but I think at the same time he is having other guests. Bruno Mars may come in, Jay-Z may come in, and a lot of guys, the hangover from the Grammys. There'll be a lot of guys you saw in the Grammys last week being in the Super Bowl and the halftime show this coming Sunday.
Thanks so much, Brandon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Finally, from the Super Bowl to singles dating games, and the story of Nigel, a very handsome gannet bird. Nigel was lured to a desolate island off the coast of New Zealand by wildlife officials who placed concrete gannet decoys 5 years ago. Nigel became enamored with one of the faux birds, building her, or it, a nest and grooming her concrete feathers year after year, getting no love in return. He even ignored 3 other gannets who finally landed on the island last month. Sadly, Nigel died this week next to his concrete mate in that unrequited love nest. Wherever Nigel's soul has landed, the singles scene surely could not be worse. And that's it for Arise America. Thanks for joining us.